In this video, I'm going to talk about the Stronger. Stronger is one-act play, and one-act play that's written by August Strindberg. It was originally in Swedish. Well, we are not going to take the text, no, but we are going to analyze the text of the Stronger. Actually, we're just going to analyze, not really the text as well, because we don't talk about a lot of quotations from the drama. But we are going to analyze it, in so many ways, like what is the climax, what is the plot, what is the conflict, what is the setting, and etc. And at the end, I would like the most important part is, as I showed why the writer uses X and Y for the characters' names. So we're gonna answer this at the end because the play is called The Stronger. So who is the stronger? Okay. Actually we have two main characters and soon we're gonna know them, and basically yeah, and actually I took this play when I play from my class. My teacher, always when we studied a one-act play, my teacher wanted us to prepare a pamphlet for it for their students. So I took the responsibility of this one. Actually I took responsibility of three of the pamphlets of three different one-act plays, and this is one of them. So you can go, if you go to my SlideShare account, which I will put a link in the description, you can get the Word file. So you can use it easily with your homeworks or whatever. So now let's start. And let me tell you something before I start. It's kind of the spoiler warning. Before you read it, before you watch this video, it's better for you to read the actual text, and it's not very long. I will put link in the description to go to oneactplays.com so you can read the text of The Stronger, and it was originally in Swedish, but actually it's been translated to English, so you can go and read it and then come back here. If not, I will explain the plot, but then you don't get the actual meaning because there's a lot of things that you need to read in the actual one-act play. But anyway, let's start. I warned you guys. The plots. Okay, let's read the plot. Okay. Mrs. X and Miss Y meet in a corner of a woman's cafe on a Christmas Eve. So it tells us about the setting as well. It's a Christmas Eve, okay? But on a Christmas Eve, not a specific Christmas Eve. I will talk about this at the end when I reveal about the names. Mrs. X starts greeting and talking to Miss Y. After greeting, she criticizes her for her loneliness. Then Mrs. X keeps talking and revealing memories. So basically here, she gradually changed. At first, we think they are friendly because, Mrs. X greets Miss Y and they talk. Actually, not they talk, but Mrs. X, gradually will turn into, a memory revealer or something like that. So, till we know Miss Y was Mrs. X's husband's lover, okay? But it's all been revealed by Mrs. X, okay? And Mrs. X tells Miss Y that she destroyed her life and she changed her, but later she says that she is the stronger in all what happened. Okay, this is not the answering, by the way. We will talk about the stronger later. And Miss Y is not the stronger as well. We will talk about it later, okay? Is the stronger in all what happened, and at the end, she says she will leave the cafe to go home to make love with her husband. Basically, from the plot, what we know that we have two girls fighting over one man. This is kind of love triangle, okay? We don't really get into this love triangle thing, but what you see, we have two main characters. We have Mrs. X, we know that she is married, she has a husband, and we have Miss Y, that she is not married. And their name is Mrs. X and Miss Y. Actually, Miss Y has a name, but the writer uses Miss Y instead of her actual name that we know from the one-act play. We will explain this later. So now let's get into the deeper analysis. We have Climax, okay? So the climax of the play is when Mrs. X expresses the reality and tells Miss Y, this is a quotation from the actual one-act play. This is the climax. This is the last point of the highest point of the play. She says that I hate you, or I hate you, how I hate you. So here, Mrs. X expresses the reality, and she tells Miss Y that she hates her. Okay, so, and she had eaten her from inside. So Mrs. X tells Miss Y that you had eaten me from inside. Okay, and she tells her that you cannot keep a man's love, but you can steal it from the others. So here there is a weakness of Mrs. X, and we see Miss Y is stronger. If you see, this is like opposite of the plot. We said that Mrs. X says, I am the stronger because I will go home to make love with my husband. While you love my husband, you cannot make love with her. You cannot keep her. You couldn't keep her, actually. It's a past tense. You couldn't keep him. Sorry, not her, him. You couldn't keep him. So I am the stronger. But here, it's a bit different. The climax is a bit different. In the climax, we see that Mrs. X loses it. She just let it out, Basically, I forgot to mention something. Mrs. X talks all the way throughout the play. From the beginning till the end, she's just talking. She's just talking. But about Miss Y, she's not. She's not even say a word from the first till the end of the play. It tells us a lot, by the way. Okay, it's not just like, she's not talking and that's it. No, everything has its meaning. Anyway, then we have the conflict. Okay, let's see what is the conflict. So the conflict, by here you should figure out what is the conflict. From the climax and the plot. But anyway, the conflict of the play is between Mrs. X will and against Miss Y's will. So there's fight between wills. Okay. For example, Mrs. X wills to keep her husband and family from girls, not just from Miss Y, by the way. When she reveals memories and etc., shadowing and etc., she also talks about other women. There was a woman, I forgot her name, Transitic, something like that. She also kept eye on husband, okay, her husband. But anyway, this is the main conflict. Two women have fighting for their wills. They don't fight physically, but they fight mentally. Mrs. X tries to keep other women away from her husband and fights whoever comes to her way. On the other hand, or on the other side, Miss Y is in love with Mrs. X's husband, and she wills to gain her love. So this is the main conflict here. Sorry. It's always happened with me. Oh my. Okay. Then we have still. Let's keep on the wall. But this is the main theme of the conflict. Okay. And Mrs. X keeps talking throughout the play, and Miss Y doesn't say a word, as I told you now. But her silence and her facial expressions tells so much. At the end, if judging by appearance, we find Miss Y is weak, while Miss X is the stronger because she is able to keep her house, her husband. Okay, let's get into, and later we will answer who is the stronger. So now let's get into the characters. We have two main characters, but we will talk about three. Actually, I prepared two, but we will talk about three while we are talking about Mrs. X. So Mrs. X, she's a round character. What do we mean by round character? Well, we mean that she's changing throughout the play. If you see at the beginning, she has certain characteristics, but while she reveals many secrets and and stuff, she changed. I mean, her opinion, her facial expressions, the way she acts. So she's a round character. And she's wearing a winter coat, okay, and a hat, and she keeps talking to Miss Y. This is just her appearance, you know. So she keeps talking to Miss Y throughout the play. She makes fun of Miss Y's loneliness. Later in the play, we know she hates Miss Y. That was the climax point. But she also admits she changed a lot to be similar to Miss Y, and she pretends to be the stronger. So here we can see that by this statement, we can see that she is a round character. And the other character I want to talk about, which is a flat character, and he is Bob. Bob is the husband of Mrs. X. He's a womanizer. He is a manager of a theater, and Miss Y was an actor there, and this is why they improve their feelings for each other. But what you see here is her husband is named Bob. They talk a lot about Bob, and he's a character, but he never showed up on the play, so I wouldn't count her as a character in this video, okay? I mean, I wouldn't count her as like to talk about her more, but we know, you just need to know that he's a womanizer. He's a husband of Mrs. X. They have 2 children together. But he is a bitch. I mean, this is all I can say. Probably not, but anyway, I mean, he's a bit, I don't know, like, he is a manager, and I think he uses his position to get girls a woman, and I don't know, and he cheats on her husband and on his wife, and etc. Let's get into Miss Y. So Miss Y, she is also a round character. She also changed a lot, though. And her name is Amelia, so we have a name for her. The Y is equal to Amelia, but here the writer only uses Y, only Y. And we will see why the writer uses X and Y, okay? And she keeps silent throughout the play. She doesn't say anything. She only listens to Mrs. X. In the play, Mrs. X reveals that she was her husband's lover, former lover, and her friend. But by the way, Mrs. X tells about her change to be similar to Miss Y. We know about what is her favorite thing, and vice versa. Okay? So basically, Mrs. X changed to be Miss Y. Why? To keep her husband. For example, Amelia loved to live near a lake, so now their house is near a lake. Amelia loved hot chocolate, so Mrs. X, in the play, when she comes, she orders a hot chocolate. Miss Y loved reading. Now Mrs. X reads as well because she wants to be similar to Miss Y, just to keep her husband. So she totally changed. No, I personally don't like that, but yeah, this is what happened. So let's go to the setting. The time is on a Christmas Eve evening. Not necessarily evening, but it's on the Christmas Eve. I don't think it's evening, by the way, but anyway, it's on the Christmas Eve. The place is in a corner of a woman's cafe. There are 2 small iron tables and red roasted sofa and some chairs, and there is a half-empty beer on Mrs. Y's table. This is the setting. This is the place, okay? Then we have the atmosphere. Basically, the atmosphere of this play is a psychological study of human nature, and is it's a very complicated social problem. Like, I don't know, it's very complicated. Like, there is a woman wants to keep her husband, the husband doesn't really love her, and he goes out to other women, and this woman is totally an obstacle. They have 2 children together. I don't know, this is like a social problem, complicated social problem, because you also don't know who's the stronger, who's right. For example, you see Miss Y is really in love with that man, while this man is having a family. Even if he doesn't love the wife, his wife, he has 2 children together. I mean, if the woman, even if the man leave his family, he's a bad man. You would say that, even if he doesn't love his wife. And you say Miss Y is bad because he loves a man who is get married, but you see some people say love doesn't have any borders. So, I mean, it's a bit complicated. It needs more analysis on that, okay? Hard to solve, okay, so it's a complicated social problem, which is hard to solve throughout the play. That might create a sad, melancholic, there's a sad and melancholic atmosphere. You can feel that, especially when they talk about memory. Both of them, they feel pain. It's not just Miss Y, but Mrs. X is, we will see it later. So let's go to the themes. There's one main theme, which is love. Love is something beautiful, but the play shows that it can be destructive power. It can be a source of destruction, and it should be limited. According to one, they said everything has limits, and some people say love has no border. Some people say, I don't know, stuff like that. Freedom has no border, etc. But actually, it should be limited. Miss Y is in love with Mrs. X's husband, and he also loves her back. Love itself is an amazing feeling, yeah, but in this situation, it is wrong. It destroys Mrs. X's family. So we can see that, you love Mrs. X's husband, you like to have boom boom with him, it's okay. But, if he is a single, it's okay. You can go and have boom boom with him. You can love him and etc. But, you know that your love for that man will destroy this family. And you were a friend of Mrs. X. You were a friend of Mrs. That's right. In the play, if you read, you know that Mrs. X kept her because she was afraid from her somehow. Because she was more beautiful, etc. But they were friends. It's immoral if you fall in love with your friend's girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, So love should be limited. It really should be limited. Okay, otherwise it's a destructive force. That was first theme. Another theme is giving up. Okay, you can put it in that way, giving up. For example, we should not be changed ourselves. For example, Mrs. X changed every characteristic in herself to be similar to Amelia or Miss Y just to keep her husband and family. Family is, you cannot tie a family with glue, okay? If the love between a husband and wife is lost, then you don't really have a family. And if you change yourself to be someone else just to keep your family, this is a stupid idea. You should be yourself. You should not lose yourself in the music the moment you want it and you never let it go. You get only one shot. Do not lose it. Okay, so this is the Eminem song, Lose Yourself. You should not lose yourself, okay? Don't lose yourself. But in music, it's okay, okay? All right. So let's get into actually not last slide, but this is one before last but not least. Why the writer uses X and Y for the character's name but not an ordinary name. Probably you got some ideas about this question, but because I already analyzed it, but in uni we didn't really analyze. Before we analyzed it, my teacher asked us why the writer uses X and Y for the characters' names but not an ordinary name like Amelia, Georgiana, or etc., etc. Well, we thought for a bit. Actually, I had some crazy thoughts, like it means XY, which means chromosomes XX and XY. But actually, I said no, it's stupid. There's not anything like that about that, you know. But finally, I gave the answer, and it was true. I said, I was really happy, you know. I was like, I was very happy that I'm a genius, you know. I know the answer of this riddle because it looks like a puzzle or a riddle. Basically, I said, as we know in mathematics, we have x and y, and we can replace it with any number, with any numbers that we want, you know. For example, x can be 1 to infinity, y the same thing. So that's why the writer uses this. The writer, by this, wants to tell us, he wants to tell us that x and y can be replaced by any name in the world. And it can, so the writer wants to tell us that this thing can happen to any family, to any person, and can happen in any place in the world. Okay, it can happen in any society of the world, can happen in any place in the world. So that's why the writer uses x and y for the names, Mrs. X and Miss Y. Before I finish this, I want to show you one more thing, a quote. There's a lot of quotations that I explained in the pamphlet, in the link down below in my SlideShare account, but here I will just provide you one because I don't want to make it longer as well. But maybe when all is said, I am really the stronger right now. This is what Mrs. X said. So here Mrs. X tries to tell Miss Y that she is a stronger because she took everything from Miss Y and she lost everything. Mrs. X says that she is like a thief because she only took whatever Miss Y had, but Miss Y didn't get anything. This is Mrs. X. Mrs. X said, but Miss Y didn't get anything from her, so she had what Miss Y had lost. This is what Mrs. X said. We cannot totally believe that. So who's the stronger? Who's the stronger? Well, if we judge by appearance, Mrs. X is the stronger. If we judge by someone's psyche, Miss Y is kind of stronger. Miss Y actually, she only lost the man, but she hasn't lost herself. But Mrs. X, she lost herself, and she has to stay. She has to stay like this throughout her life. She has to keep her man away from other people, and her husband does things that Amelia loved. So that's why, I mean, they love themselves. So, in my opinion, we don't have stronger here. No one is the stronger. Everybody lost something. Probably the winner is the man because he's a player. You know, he's a womanizer player. He's a manager of a theater and he meets a lot of women. But no, actually, everyone in this play lost something in the society. And yeah, I sound serious right now. But anyway, it's my opinion. No one is the winner and no one is the stronger. Being strong, you know, I have a different definition for being strong. Being strong is not by muscles, is not by keeping your woman or a man that doesn't love you. You have to put them in trash if they no longer love you and they want to cheat on you. So that's why I think that no one is the stronger here and no one is the real winner in this battle. But if we see Miss Y is a bit stronger not in the meaning that she's called, but in the meaning that she could keep herself. She hasn't lost herself, and it's admirable. I admire her for that. But Mrs. X, she changed to someone else just to keep someone else in her life, and I don't know. And it's not because of her children, though. They talk about their children, but she only uses her children just to make Amelia feel bad, and only for that she uses her children. Otherwise, I mean, she doesn't really love her children. I mean, she loves her children. Every mother loves her children, but I mean, it's a bit different in display. Anyway, I hope you like this video. If you want more of analysis, just let me know. And have a nice day and bye.